Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my MockReads science fiction list for 2023. I started something I'm calling MockReads for the last couple of years, which I'm basing off of the Goodreads Choice Awards. It's basically my way of trying to nudge myself into reading some front list in various genres of interest per year, because mostly I'm reading backlist. And I thought it would be fun to, be on top of the game for some genres and with just a couple of books. And if they're popular enough, then maybe I could vote for them in the Goodreads Choice Awards for funsies when the Goodreads Choice Awards come out in a couple of months. Although, I'm mostly just, following my own tastes. So if these books don't make it onto the Goodreads Choice Awards, then that's fine, and I'll do my own little ranking system and my own little blog post around October, and not worry so much about Goodreads Choice now that they don't have a write-in round anymore. But yeah, that's my plan. Just basically, it's a elaborate reading list for myself. And also a chance for me to talk about possibly some of the buzzier books, or at least the newer books that might, stick out in people's minds right now. Although technically speaking, I'm filming this now in August, and a lot of the books that stuck out to me were published early in the year. In fact, I've already read two of the books that I'll be talking about now. And the first two books I have to talk about, and I've read, both came out in like late January and early February. And I'll start with the January release, which is The TERRAFORMERS by Annalee Newitz, which actually I didn't end up liking as much as I hoped, but it is a really grand idea. And it's a story about terraforming a planet in the far distant future, like think Dune future, like, hundreds of thousands of years into the future, where human beings, such as they are living for basically forever. I think they're basically gods by this point. But the people who terraform the planets are made, basically hatched, as it were. I don't remember all of the official terminology, but another major thing Newitz is trying to deal with is sentience, and how more beings have sentience. And I mean, we start with animals having sentience, and different types of sapiens having sentience, and then we move on to such things as trains having sentience. So the story is told in three novellas, and we, as I guess a sentient overall race, are ruled by corporations. And so it's a corporation that owns this particular world, and they're trying to make it into a Pleistocene-esque sort of world, where they're hoping to make money, where Homo sapiens, who are like pure, are kind of living a fantasy life where they get to hunt and like be wasteful with resources the way that the rest of society isn't supposed to be anymore. So there's a lot of clashing, because there's conservators and that sort of thing on the planet trying to actually, build it up and build up the resources and being ethical, versus, the people who are trying to make money, and the people who want to, live there and hunt and just, be reckless and that sort of thing. And the company that owns a couple of the cities, it's a new corporation that owns a couple of the cities, are trying to sort of phase out anyone who isn't a Homo sapien. So they're using gentrification to try to, force people from their homes. And that's, I don't know, when you realize just how much, even though this story takes place thousands of years into the future with sentient, all sorts of things, it really is a commentary on late-stage capitalism today, which is fine. The problem for me was it was too much crammed into too little space. I found it difficult to connect with characters because, I respect trying to say that, animals are important and to treat them with more dignity, but I really feel like we lost sight of what might be a human heart of the story. And, I guess I still come to fiction, even, big maximist science fiction, for human characters, and there weren't really human characters as I understood them in this book that spanned so many years, and everything was in service of the plot. So I was I came out of it just feeling a little underwhelmed, or I guess just distanced. You know, fascinating ideas, but in terms of, you know, fiction, I wasn't, you know, blown away or deeply moved, that sort of thing. And I had a lot more luck with the next book. I'll talk about the February book, which is MERU by S.B. Divya. And in a way it's similar. I mean, although it only takes place, I think, a millennium into the future, and we're still on Earth. And there's such a thing as alloys that have basically, I guess, the machines have taken over in a way, and they have this sort of benign dictatorship with humans. Basically, it's understood that we've fucked up as a race. You know, we've depleted resources on the planet. We don't know how to live ethically, so we're just sort of being we're stewarded. You know, we're restricted to Earth, where alloys get to, you know, traverse the galaxy, but we're restricted and have, I say we, because again, I guess, you know, the human being thing makes it much more personal to me. I mean, I feel like humans I related with a lot more in this book. And anyway, so our main character is a human. She has sickle cell disease. You know, all humans, you know, just are weak in comparison to alloys. Some alloys are spaceships, actual spaceships. And this one human being who was adopted by alloys is petitioning. She wants to go live on this recently discovered planet called MERU, and it might be actually convenient for her sickle cell disease, and she wants to prove that, you know, humans can deserve a second chance, that, you know, we as a you know, a species have learned our lesson and can actually live ethically. And she is given permission by the government in control to team up with an alloy who is a spaceship and basically, you know, try to live ethically and prove the experiment that this can be done. But unfortunately, her sponsors, who are pro-human in this regard, have enemies, other alloys who basically want the status quo to remain as it is, and have very negative feelings toward humans, and also just, I guess, there's the usual politicking about who, you know, different political groups vying for power. So they have a couple of characters trying to sabotage the mission, and that's what happens. But as that's happening, we're getting this love affair between this alloy, who is a sentient spaceship, and then this main character who's a human. And, you know, again, it's just the way that it was written. We have these big grand ideas, but I still felt like there was a human heart to it, so I was both wowed by the big ideas, but also the human heart. So basically, out of these two books, which I'll leave my reviews for down below if you want more information, but so far, out of the two of these books, I'm favoring MERU. But I'm hoping to read at least one more book, you know, to judge against these two, and then in October I'll, you know, rank them my most to least favorite. So I have a couple of options of books that I am hoping to read before October. The first book I talked about in my mid-year book tag of, you know, an anticipated release for later this year. This book is coming out on October 17th. It is Generationship by Michael Mammay. And basically what stuck out to me about this book is it's about a generationship, which is just an idea that fascinates me. What fascinates me, I guess, is culture, and especially in insular places, and especially with that sort of overarching narrative of we're leaving Earth and trying to find a new home. So I'm always trying to find something that kind of reads like A Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers, but most generationship books are more about, you know, contained spaces, you know, Wild West, massive problem happens, and, you know, it's sort of a thriller in space of, you know, the spaceship is going down and how do you save yourselves from, you know, immediate danger. And I'm hoping it won't be too much like that, nothing too high octane, nothing that's more about immediate survival versus culture building, but I'm just not sure. I guess I'll just have to read it and see what I make of it. And the second book I might read actually is already out. It came out on June 6th, and it's Translation State by Leckie. I read Leckie's fantasy book, but not any of her famous science fiction books, so I thought, you know, why not dive in with her her most recent of that, which seems like it might be up my alley because it's a space opera, and I like space operas. And it seems to be about three humans slash aliens with various backstories, and they're coming together amidst some sort of conflict, I suppose. But I think it's about three people with different sort of agendas and maybe different species, that sort of thing, and hopefully a lot of cultural world building coming with that. And I imagine it'll tie into her series with provenance and ancillary justice. I have provenance on my shelves too, so maybe I should get to that soon as well. We shall see. But for now, that's what I have in terms of 2023 releases that caught my fancy. I'll also link to the Goodreads pages for Translation State and Generationship down below. And that about covers it for me now. Yeah, so I'm excited. I will also link down below the other MockReads videos I made this year for other genres, because I've been trying to make them and read these books and get to them all year, because I have a whole other TBR list of way too many books I want to read. So now we're getting to the point where the Goodreads Choice Awards are actually pretty soon in the future, and the end of the year isn't that far off either. So excited to that I've made as much progress as I have on my science fiction and other lists, and I'm excited to keep going with other possibilities. So stay tuned, because I will report back in my Am Reading videos how I thought of these books. And more immediately, I should be back on this channel in a couple of days to do a Would You Read It challenge video, which is a challenge to take, a smattering of books and read the first paragraph and talk about what if you'd continue with the books. And I'm particularly looking at BookTube Prize ballots from yesteryear and getting to either revisit those books or consider the ones that I hadn't got to yet in the literary fiction annals of that prize. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. And I'll see you next time.